there's three main issues in my platform. It's coincidental that you asked that. One is we have a convention center authority, also known as the Music City Center, and it includes the downtown Nashville zone, okay? The downtown Nashville zone, the convention center authority, kind of operate autonomous of the city, even though they're in the city and they're made up of city property. The convention center is owned by the city. It had a special charter and special laws created in the state in order to accomplish what was needed to get the bonds together to fund the $700 million project. When that was going down in 2010, 11, 12, and it was going in the planning stage and so forth, and then subsequently the building stage, some of it made sense, some of it not. But we were coming out, or in the middle of, I should say, the Great Recession. We just had a flood here in May of 2010, which kind of knocked everybody back on their heels. People were a little more skittish, I would say, back then than now. Now we've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 cranes in the air in downtown Nashville. We are building, we are exploding. It's fantastic. Tourism is at an all-time high. We are generating more revenue than ever, and we can't pay our bills. And the reason that I'm astounded is that this convention center authority has somewhere upwards of $200 million in cash and cash equivalents as I read the report. Now, I've got a 34-page report here that was put out in June of 2018, okay, that the average citizen can't read, okay? I can read it and I can fuddle through it because I am a businessman and I know P&Ls and I know balance sheets, okay? The average citizen that goes to work every day for a company doesn't understand how to read a P&L and doesn't understand how to read a balance sheet. Now, this is a very comprehensive report. Unfortunately, it wasn't released until December 4th, 2018. Okay, so 9 months ago, and it only covered 2017 and 2018 up until June of 2018. So we've got another year has gone by of record tourism and record tax collections. There's a special what they call the hotel tax down there in the downtown Nashville zone, and it's generating massive amounts of money. At the same time, we can't pay our teachers a competitive wage. They can't afford to live in Nashville because the cost of living has gone up so high, especially housing. Okay, they've got student loans to pay because we require them to have master's degrees. Okay, how convenient of us. We want them to have a master's degree, and we want them to be certified and intelligent teachers, and at the same time, we can't pay them a competitive wage, and they can't pay their student loans, which we needed them to get the job. It's a big circle. The vicious circle has to end. The reason under my administration, this circle will end is because I will dismantle the convention center authority. I will lobby the state to change the laws so that the excess funds in the convention center authority and the downtown Nashville zone go into the general fund, and the council decides how to pay for it. The council not how to pay for it, how to use the money. The council decides how to use the money. The council decides how to use the money. The council decides how to use the money with the mayor. That's how cities are run. Okay, I said it 3 times because I believe in the 3 rule. If you say it 3 times, maybe people will start to get it. The city council and the mayor decide how to use those funds, fixing roads, metro raises. So that leads me to my second I want to call it my heart, where my heart is. I don't want to call it just issues. This is where my heart is. Okay, metro employees need a competitive salary. Okay, it starts with the teachers. It moves to the first responders, the firefighters, the police. It goes through to the metro municipal workers that work for the city and collect garbage and run the courts and so on and so forth. The money is there. Some of them are asking for a 6% raise. We're negotiating with them a 3% raise, etc. There should be no negotiation. They need a 6% raise because the cost of living has skyrocketed as we've boomed. Okay, there's good and there's bad to growth. The good is a lot more money, a lot more people, cooler city, everybody's happy, it's in its city, you're on TV, they made a TV show about you, everybody's applauding. The bad news is the folks at the bottom in the bottom fifth, the bottom half sometimes get the raw end of the stick. And I'm here to say we don't need anybody to get the short end of the stick. We need to share the money in the Convention Center Authority. So loop back to number one. Did I say that we need to get the money out of the Convention Center Authority yet? That's number one. Number three is we have traffic problems. Along with growth comes traffic problems. Okay, we had a 5 to 9 billion with a B billion transit. I saw your face when I did that. Yes, billion with a B transit. So our city government runs on about $2.3 billion. Okay, um, that's a lot of money. Okay, they had a 5 to 9. I say 5, but people estimated it would balloon. You know how city projects go and government projects go, that it would balloon to $9 billion. So let's say somewhere between $5 to $9 billion transit referendum on that was on the last election. It was voted down, thankfully. In that traffic transit ideas were in that transit idea were plans of trains and trolleys and more buses running down the center of a couple of our main thoroughfares, trains that came in from Murfreesboro, surrounding cities, and so forth, so people could commute. All really good ideas, but all very 1800s, if you ask me. Okay, trains were developed in the late 1800s. We're in 2019. We need to be looking at technology, better switching for our lights, keeping, and I call this traffic flow. If we keep the traffic flowing, if we get traffic flow at an optimum, we will alleviate a lot of these issues regarding stopped traffic on the way into the city for commuters and stopped traffic on the way out of the city for commuters. That's where the traffic jams are. So we need to look into several of our surrounding neighbor cities. Indianapolis has nice traffic flow, and we need to look at some of our sister cities our size that are growing and look at what they're doing. And at the same time, I don't think we go back into trains. Now, if somebody had a monorail system that came up with a really cool idea technologically to move people um, in a smart and 21st century way, I'm all ears. But if you want to put trolley cars on wires so that it looks like San Francisco, I go, that's sweet for San Francisco, but we don't want to be San Francisco. And the reason it's cool for San Francisco is because they've been doing it since 1905. Okay, we don't want retro. We want now. I'm gonna say Uber Elevate. If you don't know what Uber Elevate is, go Google it. It's a really neat technological idea they're supposed to roll out in 2023. It's a traffic transforming idea. Um, the Hyperloop by Elon Musk, that's pretty cool. Now, if Elon Musk wants to come into Nashville and build a tunnel and put a Hyperloop in there, that's a good idea. I'll listen to that. But first and foremost, we got to move traffic. And the three easiest ways for us to move traffic is one, when we have a construction site where we're fixing the roads. Okay, it's 6 days a week, 3 shifts, 24/6. Okay, we'll give you Sundays off because that's the rest day. We'll rest on the Sabbath. We'll run 24/7, 6 days a week to get the project done. We've got a project out here on I-440 that is taking years, and the contractor is working what looks like banker's hours. Okay, they start sometime around early rush hour, and they end right around rush hour. And I scratch my head and I said, why aren't they doing this at least 3 shifts? I mean, if you're going to slow us down during rush hour, at least when we drive by there at 11 o'clock at night, let us see some work getting done. It's pretty amazing that our city leaders haven't figured that out. The other part of that is the potholes and the traffic issues created by roads that are beat up. Okay, and I'm not talking about just roads beat up. There's probably 1 million potholes in Nashville that have been filled. Okay, and those are hard enough to drive over. I'm talking about the potholes that have not been filled, that have been there for a long time. Now we have a mayor who rides around in a government suburban or a government car, and he probably doesn't give a whole lot of thought to these potholes. We had a woman in June of or last year in the summer of 2018 who hit a pothole on her motorcycle, was ejected from her motorcycle, was put in a coma, and later died from a pothole. Okay, her riding partner was with her, witnessed it was a pothole. This is an abomination. We're a civilized city. We're a civilized country. We don't have potholes in our road that kill people, do we? I mean, kill people? That's when the mayor should get on the TV or the radio or a podcast or Skype, whatever way he wants to communicate to the citizens that he represents and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Right? I would be horrified if that happened under my watch. And I'd get on the nightly news and everywhere else that I could. I'd put a billboard up that said, I'm sorry. We'll do better. Okay? Potholes are not hard to fill. They're not hard to take care of. This is not a monumental task. This is not solving world peace, okay, or world hunger. This is something that we can do by having our Department of Transportation drive around and fill potholes in real time, all day, every day, and we have the money for it. People go, oh, well, but we don't have the money for it. Yes, circle back to number one. We have the money for it. So there's my three. One is take back the convention center. Okay, it's our money. Replace the board. Make the board council friendly. I've got an idea of how to do that. I think you've got a question for me on that later. Two is raises for everybody and Metro employees. Okay, they've got to get raises. And one other thing about the raises is we need more first responders. We need to hire first responders. Let me give you an example. There's a developer coming to town building a 65 roughly story Four Seasons hotel. Very nice, Four Seasons. I love the Four Seasons. I'm a capitalist, so I'm all for it. What I'm not for is our government subsidizing it anyway, giving them any tax breaks. And what I'm really scared of is that we don't have any buildings here that are roughly over 400 feet, 40 stories. Okay, so what are we going? How do we get to the 56th story of that building with a hook and ladder? Can we? How do we get somebody out of the top of that building? Should there be some catastrophe? Okay, now we saw what happened on 9/11, and we saw how the first responders responded. Well, they had decades of working around skyscrapers. Okay, they knew what to do. They knew how to handle it. They ran up the stairs. They did the best they could do because they were trained and they were fabulous. Nashville's not prepared for this, and until we budget, we're understaffed in our first responders, especially our firefighters. I went to Fire Station 13. I talked to the ex-captain Roy, and he told me they've got three trucks. They've got a hazmat truck, a medical truck, and a ladder truck, if I'm remembering this correctly. And he explained to me that they should have three men for each truck, and they've got five men for all three trucks. Okay, that's another huge problem. So that's getting back to the Convention Center Authority, the funds. If the convention center is making money from tourism and we want to protect the tourists, then why aren't we using money from the Convention Center Authority to pay first responders a competitive wage and hire more? Okay, so there's my three: Convention Center Authority, raises for everybody. Convention Center Authority needs to be release the funds. Uh, Raises for all Metro employees, especially teachers, first responders. And third is we've got to keep traffic flowing. Before we talk about transit, let's move the traffic we have. Okay. One simple fix that I can tell you that I see out there when I run into people complaining about traffic stopping for no reason. You'll have somebody working on the side of the road because we've got construction going on everywhere, right? And they have no designated traffic mover moving things along. So people see the cones, they see a lane stopped, they don't see any arrow. Sometimes they see arrows pointing you over to another lane, but there should be somebody they should be required, whether it's a city truck or a developer or a contractor, they should be required to have at least one traffic flow manager on spot. Okay, traffic flow manager. I just made up that job for somebody. They just stand there all day and move people. They stop people from rubbernecking, right? You're still gonna look, but you're not gonna look as long if you got somebody say, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. And if you keep that traffic moving, it'll eliminate or alleviate. It might not eliminate, but it will definitely alleviate the 5 miles of traffic that's backed up because people are looking and they're slowing down, and you just got to keep it moving. And that's my third is traffic flow.